Yo, this is Legend Armor TV. It's good to see you again. Today's video is gonna be all about the tier list of the champions in the brand new PvP mode, which is Magmel Arena in Vindictus. Now, right off the bat, tier lists are quite subjective in every game. You know, if you are really good with a champion, you can actually shine and do things that others can only imagine doing. So don't really consult with it. However, there are still champions that do outperform others. So it would be actually quite useful for all of you to know which champions are really good, which champions are underperforming, and which champions really need like a rework or maybe a buff or something. Please enjoy the video and let's roll. Alright, so I've divided the tier list into 4 categories. Tier C, B, A, and S. And we're gonna go through Tier 1, 2, 3, and 4 champions in respective tier of the tier list. So we're gonna start with the C tier, which is, to my opinion, are the worst champions. And we're gonna start with Tier 1. So in Tier 1 we have Gnoll Chieftain and Polar Bear. So why do I think that Gnoll Chieftain and Polar Bear are really bad? First of all, Polar Bear and Gnoll Chieftain have quite weird and pretty slow on the combos. And combos, we're going to be talking about L, L, and R. And also active skills are quite questionable. The white swings on the Gnoll Chieftain might be actually pretty good if you can light it up correctly. However, since it's quite slow on the bonks that he does, it really does feel like this champion really needs maybe like a speed buff or anything. However, Gnoll Chieftain also has a second active, which is Wild Thing, that boosts action speed for everyone. So maybe if you could just buff your teammates and yourself with the Wild Things, it might work. But without the active skill, Gnoll Chieftain feels really, really underwhelming. Next up is Polar Bear. Now, the Polar Bear is slow on the auto attacks, on the combos. And his smash is quite weird on the hitbox. You would think that you're hitting, but you're not. The Deadly Howl, which is the melee AoE that he does, actually can do some pretty decent damage, especially if you're paired up with the likes of Nimane after her first active. However, it still doesn't really deal that much of a damage and is really, really easy to escape. The Frost Breath, on the other hand, which is the second active of the Polar Bear, is a cone AoE that slows attack speed for those who he hits them with. So, if you go Frost Breath, which is the second active, I would highly recommend to do that, because for some champions that are really fast, like Succubus Queen or Succubus Selren, Aiden, and others, it might actually help by slowing them down, slowing their attack speed. So even with the Frost Breath, it still feels like Polar Bear is underperforming. Moving on to the list would be Tier 2 champions in C tier, and that would be Muir and Eochaid. Now, Muir and Eochaid they're equal. They're just garbage. I don't know, honestly. The only thing that Muir is really good at is his first active, which is Mired. He spams poison everywhere on the battleground, which a lot of people can't really see, and it does some moderate damage over time. However, that's his only that's the only good thing about Muir. He's very slow. The shockwave that he does in front of him and lowers defense, which is his second active, is really easy to escape because the wind up is quite slow, and his auto attacks, his combos are just really clumsy and very slow, so he gets interrupted a lot. As for Eochaid, it's pretty much the same. The Howling Shock, the first active, which is a wind up into a cone AoE where he just starts breathing forward with a red attack. It really is slow, and you can just flank him and kill him while he's doing that, so it's not really a useful active skill. The Riotous Rumble, on the other hand, can do some real damage, which is a wind up, then he jumps and then crashes down with a massive shockwave. However, the shockwaves are quite easy to dodge, and As I said, both of the actors of Eochaid are pretty slow on the wind up, so you can actually focus him and kill him. And also the combos of Eochaid, his smash. I don't know why, but his smash is he just lashes with his tail. It's unreal to land. I don't know. It's just I don't know how to do it, to be honest. If there are any people who play Eochaid and they're pretty good with it, please do tell me how do you even like try to play with this guy. He's like super slow on the combos and the smash is just real garbage. Moving on, tier 3 on C tier, and that would be quite some characters here, which is Cesar and Cromm Cruaich. Cesar underperforms. His downward slashes, which is his first active, is a long-range strike. It does some good damage. It has some wide AoE. However, it's probably the only good thing about him. His second one, the cannonball, where he fires the cannonball into the air and then it drops and then does a massive shockwave. It's very slow and the path that it goes and explodes is really, really weird. So it's kind of hard to hit with his actives. However, Cesar, on the other hand, is not too bad. He's, I would say, in the middle on the combos, so it's still way better than Cromm Cruaich. Cromm Cruaich is a champion that I played a couple of times, and to be honest, I don't understand how to hit anything with him. Like, his combo doesn't make any sense to me. It's the hitbox, you can't really tell where he's hitting. The only thing that does damage is his smash, which does some AoE, kind of like what Macha does on her smash, but it's really frustrating. Maybe it's just me that I'm bad on Cromm Cruaich, but his, first normals, first left clicks, 2 left clicks are just, really, I don't know, I can't just land them ever again. Not because I'm getting staggered, it's just I can't land them. It's really strange, I don't know. His Annihilation, the first active, which is a cone-wide AoE laser, is a really good damage. However, the hitbox on the laser is really weird. Kind of like how he is in the normal PvE, where, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. It was similar in Onslaught, where he would do it, and people would be like, okay, well, that didn't do any damage, what the hell? And the Pierce, which he just charges forward and does some really good damage in AoE, is actually kind of good, but it's just his combos that are just really make him underperform and does put him, for me, in the C tier. And finally, for the tier 4. In tier 4, you will find Agares and Ragnahim. Now, tier 4 are carries, and they're supposed to deal some huge damage and, bonk everyone left and right, just, quadra killing everyone. However, when it comes to Agares and Ragnahim, their combos are not too bad, okay? Not too bad. However, it's the actives that I feel like they are just not good. Agares' first active skill, which is Glare, it lowers the defense for everyone. He releases a sonic wave, much like he does for the John Cena stuff, and it lowers defense for all the enemies who are caught by the Glare for 30 seconds. It might be really good for the team fights where you're relying on the combos, however, it does nothing for the active skills much, so you would, if you're playing Agares, which is a tier 4, you would have to rely on your teammates, so they would have to actually carry, and you would just spam Glare. His serial strikes, though, when he does few attacks and he can change direction during these attacks, they do some significant damage. However, they're pretty easy to escape and to dodge, so I think Agares you would want to buff Agares, maybe give him some more damage on the attacks. I don't know. And Ragnahim, the White Swings, which is a 4 AoE strikes that he does. His combos, I'm not quite sure. I really never tried Ragnahim much, but from what I've seen, his hitbox seems kind of weird, so I'm not sure here. The Shockwave is a real good active skill, which is the second active skill of Ragnahim. He does massive damage Shockwave that deals an enormous amounts of damage. However, there are still tier 4 champions that do that job better. So that's why Ragnahim and Agares go to the C tier respectively as tier 4 champions. Moving on, B tier. And we start with tier 1 champions again. So in B tier, I've put Ikrium, Silberin, and Rakrak. Ikrium is actually quite good on the combos, and his Send Plosion, his first active, which plants 3 bombs that explodes in AoE, can be a game changer in the team fights because they do stagger, and each bomb can stagger every time. So if you do the timing right in the team fight, you can actually win it by just staggering everyone 3 times. Plus, just add his combos into the play, and he becomes really a force to be reckoned with. His secondary active skill, which is a Shockwave, is also pretty good. The wind up is quite fast, so and it deals some moderate damage. So Ikrium, I would say the B tier might feel like it's a very bad tier, but it actually isn't. The champions there are actually quite good, but they're not the best, obviously. Next up would be Silberin. So Silberin's Ultra Shock, which does huge super melee AoE damage, is one of the things that catches a lot of people off guard. So you just do the double charge into the mass, into the crowd of enemy champions, and do the Ultra Shock. It does a lot of damage if you're like, but you have to be like really close in melee for that. And the Discharge, which fires multiple electric jolts forward, can actually be pretty good at sniping people who are like very injured and they're like panic trying to escape through the lock. So his both active skills are really good. He is not too bad on the combos as well. And Rakrak. This little rat, honestly, his first active, which is a Shockwave, again, there's a lot of champions who have just Shockwaves. It does some good AoE damage, however, if you're picking Rakrak, he's really good on the combos, he's quite fast. You would want to use Swift, his second active skill. By using Swift, you're buffing everyone's action speed, so it allows other champions to perform and to ignore their wind-ups, much like, I would say the Swift, like every action speed buff that the champions have are really good for the likes of Selren, for example, whenever she uses the magic missile, so she casts it faster, or Nimane or Balor, so they can just do their actives way faster and catch people off guard easily. It's really good. So if you're picking Rakrak, definitely go for Swift, which is the secondary active. It's really good. Moving on. Next up would be Lord Glas. The only tier 2 champion that is in the B tier for me is Lord Glas Ghaibhleann. Lord Glas Ghaibhleann is kind of good on the combos, however, his smash is really hard to pull off, and he's after another, which is the first active, does a combo of strikes. It can be really good, but he's very slow. He's swinging his sword around and doing all that. He's an easy target to kill. If you're picking Lord Glas, though, you would probably want to pick him for Unshakable Faith. Unshakable Faith is the secondary active skill of Lord Glas. It raises defense for everybody. So you would want to use that and pair it up with the other champions that can do the buffs, so you can just demolish everyone. Defense, whenever you're raising defense, it really makes a huge difference. You start to, even if you're getting perma-staggered, you're not dying in like 1 or 2 seconds. You actually die twice as that time. So Lord Glas is really good for his defense active over there. Moving on to Tier 3. Tier 3 in B tier would be Zecallion and Bloodlord. Now, when it comes to Zecallion and Bloodlord, what's so strange about them? Zecallion's combo is pretty linear. His first normals and the smash in a combo are very linear. I'm not even sure if they do have a hitbox for some AoE. For some cleave, so cleaving as Zecallion is really hard. His explosion, the secondary active, does a huge AoE, but it's really easy to escape. However, his shielded charge, the first active, when he charges forward, increasing self defense and dealing a lot of damage, it actually is really good. However, you need to line it up correctly and know when to use it. As for Bloodlord, Bloodlord's combos are quite bad, I would say. His smash is a mid-range, however, it's really hard to pull off. When it comes to his actives, Fresh Cut, the first active, he charges forward and does another attack after that. He just dives in, doing the slashes. It's really good for some AoE damage, and his active Slice, which is the second one, does AoE melee swings, but if you're rubber banding, you might actually get staggered out of it, so watch out for it. I would say Zecallion and Bloodlord are not too bad, to be honest, but they can definitely do much better. And the Tier 4 champions in B tier, and there is a lot of them actually, I put a lot of them here. That would be Lugh Lamhfada, Macha, Brigid, and Siete. Now let's go one by one. First up would be Lugh Lamhfada. So Divine Wound, which is a combo of attacks, he does a stab forward and then he does some extra attacks after that, is really good. His Hero's Force, the second active, which he does a massive bonk. He just does this huge slam, and it has a very long range. They are really good, and his combos are really good too. So as I said, B tier is not too bad. What is next? Next is Brigid. So Brigid, why I don't like Brigid? I don't like Brigid because her active skill, which is Ascension, where she charges, then leaps, dealing damage, and then crashes with the shockwaves, it's quite easy to escape. It does a lot of damage, right, but honestly, as I said, some other Tier 4 champions perform that way better. She's quite good on the combos, and her first active, which is Blazing Stabs, she deals consecutive strikes and can change direction mid-combo. I didn't see a lot of people using Blazing Stabs. A lot of people do use Ascension, the second active. So she's not too bad, I would say. Like a solid mid-tier character. Next up would be Siete. Siete's combos are really weird. The hitbox is very weird. It's kind of hard to land the hits with her combos. Her first active is the best thing that she has, which is Assassinate. She charges forward and deals some damage in a slash, so it's a really nice cleave and does a lot of damage there. The Six Slice is the second active. Six Slice is quite good too. She swings Sickle for AoE damage, but you need to line it up correctly. You need some really good timing on that, which is, since it's peer-to-peer, sometimes it's really hard to line them up, and it's really hard to just connect with all the hits. And Macha. Macha's Healing Melody, which is boosts attack and lowers attack for enemies, is really good active. Myriad Arms, which is a long wind-up triple combo with AoE at the end, is really good as well, but her second active is quite slow, and she's very slow and very vulnerable during her second active. The Healing Melody, people use that a lot. It actually is really good, but you need to stack on your teammates, and you have to make sure that you're fighting the enemies as well. So it might be really risky because it's a long wind-up while she's just playing her harp. So I'm not quite sure there. And that's about it for the B tier. Let's move up and talk about the A tier. A tier. Now, these are second to best champions. Let's start with Tier 1 first. In Tier 1, we have Keaghan, Black Scar, and Shining Shakarr. When it comes to Keaghan, Keaghan's combos are awesome, like really awesome. His first normals are very fast, and his smash is really easy to bait people into. So you can actually fake it out. You can wait a little bit, do a little delay before the smash, and then it does an enormous amounts of damage in a cleave, so it's really good. When it comes to the actives, the first active skill is Pure Fury, which boosts his attack, and that's really good if you can actually carry as a Keaghan. However, it does nothing for your team, because you can only boost your own attack. So if you are really confident with Keaghan, you can actually do some really great things there. His secondary is more into a team fight, to team play, that is Dark Missile, which is a homing fireballs. However, the wind up is quite slow on that, so you have to make sure you're positioning yourself correctly, and make sure you don't get you don't die during the wind up. Black Scar. Now, Black Scar feels like a complete garbage when it comes to the combos. However, his combos do excel after his active skills. So, whenever you're playing Black Scar, you would want to use Body Slam, which is the first active. He charges. It's not like a very long charge. However, if you can hit as many characters with that, it applies slow. It zaps people's stamina and they're slowed. This is your time to shine. You hit them with a body slam, they're slowed, and then you start and make sure that you are just landing up your smash at them. His smash does more than 1.5k damage, which is insane for tier 1 champion, and just slow them down. They're trying to escape, and you're just spamming his smash, which he throws his axes, and it just demolishes everyone. I honestly, once I was alone on a lane versus 4 champions, and I hit them all with a body slam, and I just spammed the crap out of the smash on them, and I destroyed them all. It was a quadra kill by Black Scar. It's really hard to pull off, but man, he's really good. He's a secondary, though. Sixer Strike deals consecutive smashes forward. You can change mid-direction. It does some nice damage. However, if you're picking Black Scar, I would highly recommend to use his first active all the time, which is Body Slam. And Shining Shakarr. Shining Shakarr is very slow on his normals, but they have a it's like the sweeping strikes that he does are very, very huge. And his smash does, just like Black Scar, does an enormous amount of damage. And it's kind of mid-range-ish, so it's really, really good. The Swift is his secondary active, is kind of like what Rakrak does, but you would probably want to use Crushing Charge, the first active, which he charges and deals 4 attacks after that. There is a combo. So he charges, then he slowly AoEs, does a whirlwind, and then at the end he does a bonk that you can actually change the direction as well. So you can catch some people off guard, you can face to the left and then do the bonk to the right, so it's really good. His Crushing Charge is amazing. Moving on, Tier 2 would be Queen Regina, Dullahan, and Inquisitor Ulchas. Now, these 3 are really awesome. Queen Regina's combos might not be the best. She's quite fast and can do some really nice pokes with the smash, but her white swings, the first active, there is a little wind up, and then she does a big slash forward and lowers defense for everyone that she hits. It's amazing. It's like the best ability that she has. Why people are, if you're picking Queen Regina and you know how to do the white swings, it can change the course of the battle easily for everybody. It's amazing. Her secondary active, which is Queen's Will, there is a long wind up for it, and then she releases a shockwave. It can catch some people off guard and do some massive damage, but I honestly recommend doing white swings every time you can. It's really good. Next up is Dullahan. Dullahan Freezing Rays, which is a wind up, then he AoEs and applies bitter cold attack speed slow to everybody. It's really good, so he just flies into the air and then starts spinning and doing these freezing rays. It's really good. If you're lowering people's attack speed, it makes the champions who rely on the combos render them not useless, but they start performing way worse. So it's really awesome to have to do the freezing rays. His combos are not too bad. His smash has a mid-range properties, so it's really good as well. And the flight risk, he flies forward, deals damage. It can do some really good damage as well. However, I would say that I would pick freezing rays over flight risk any day. The AoE is much wider, and the freeze, the bitter cold that it applies to the enemies, is really good. And Inquisitor Ulchas. So the Pierce, which is the first active, there's a little wind up for it, then he does a thrust forward. It does some really good damage, and you can, if you line it up, you can actually hit a couple of enemies with that. But Inquisitor Ulchas, just like Lord Glas Ghaibhleann, is good for Honest Faith, which increases defense for everybody. So if you're playing Ulchas, you would want to use it for the defense buff. Why he's better than Lord Glas, why he's in A tier, is because his combos are way faster, and also the Pierce, his active skill, is quite fast as well. It's faster than Lord Glas's combo, so you would want both of his actives, and the combos are really good on Inquisitor Ulchas. So if you're going for tier 2, definitely A tier would be Ulchas, Dula, and Regina. They're really good. Moving on, A tier, tier 3 champions. That would be Antinoff and Arcana. Why Antinoff is so freaking good? First of all, his combos are really good. His smash is kind of tricky to do because you have to, he does like a jump and then a smash. The smash does a lot of damage, and if you can just predict where the character, the enemy champion is going to go, it's going to do some huge damage there. Why Antinoff is amazing? He's amazing for his first active skill, which is Winning Spin. It's kind of funny that it's called like that, but it is. He spins a couple of times, dealing damage in a wide area. So he pairs amazingly with the likes of Blackscar or Nimane, all the characters who can apply slow and zap stamina. So he's in the A tier just for his winning spin. It's amazing. The shockwave, he sends a triple shockwave after a wind up. It's not used quite often. The shockwave doesn't go too far, and it does good damage, but he really underperforms on the wind up there. And then it comes to Arcana. Now, Arcana is very fast on the combos, super fast. It feels like you will feel like Usain Bolt playing Arcana. And her first active, which is Mayday, she fires shots forward and then around her. It does a lot of damage and can confuse a lot of people. They would start just dodging everywhere, and you can bait their stamina, so they just get slowed after you use Mayday. However, Rocket Puncher is really good too. It's a combo and a slam at the end with a lot of hits and a large hitbox there. So you can, both of her actives are really good, and the combos are really amazing and fast. And ending up the A tier is the tier 4 champions, the carries. Now, there is only 2 characters here, which is Inquisitor Claire and Balor. Now, these champions are amazing, really amazing, but not the best. They're almost as good as the best, but they're just slightly behind. Now, when it comes to Balor, Balor's combos are really fast and really good, and he also, whenever he does the smash, he sends a shockwave. The shockwave travels quite far, so you can actually snipe some people who think that they're safe, and they might not even see you, and you can deal some damage to them. Balor is known for Eochaid's Might, the first active skill that he does. He does, like you can see on the preview, he just did it, but however he missed. It's kind of easy to dodge that active, but what does the most damage in Eochaid's Might? The initial axe hit. It does an enormous amount of damage. And then if someone actually survived that, which is usually not the case, he sends a massive shockwave that does around 2k damage. So this active is used the most. The serial strikes, his secondary active skill, which is a triple combo of thrusts that he does, is not really that good, I would say, but Iveca's Might really, everyone uses Iveca's Might, it's really easy to do, and it does enormous amounts of damage. And Inquisitor Claire. Inquisitor Claire is really good on her smash. Her smash does huge damage, and it has a very wide area. It's really good. When it comes to the actives, her first active is Resolute. It boosts her attack, but lowers her defense. So if you're playing, let's say, with Iset, you can actually use Resolute into the song, into the royal song, and increase the attack dramatically, but you have to make sure that your connection is like perfect, so you can just demolish everyone with just normals. You don't even actually need the smash. You can actually just destroy with your normals with double attack buff. But everyone uses Claire, and Claire is known for her secondary active, which is Inquisition. So she charges forward, slashes, and leaps, and then sends a shockwave into all directions. Now, the initial damage, the most damage that Claire does, is from the charge. The wind up is almost there is almost non-wind up for the charge. She charges almost instantly, and even if you didn't kill, didn't do the finishing blow with the charge, there is also a shockwave at the end that goes into all directions, so you can actually snipe someone easily. And finally, for the best champions that I found in this PvP mode that do amazing stuff, like amazing, it's insane. These characters are the best, hands down. S tier ranks, and we start with Iset and Ingkells. Now, why Iset is S tier? Mostly because her smash has a huge freaking range. For me, that a person that is from EU, but I play on NA, I have ping, and I lag in every game of Mell. So I found Iset as a main because I can actually be behind and just strike everyone with the smash, because it has a very long range and very wide. So she does huge damage with her combos. It's amazing. Her Desert Storm, the cone AoE that she does, have a wind up and then she jumps backwards. It does some nice damage, but I would say if you're playing Iset, you would want to use a Royal Song, the secondary active that boosts the attack for her and everyone else by 2k. So her smashes are becoming even more deadly. So with the Royal Song, she, as you can see in the preview, she does like what, 800 on Selren. With the Royal thing, she does like 1500 easy, and you can just AoE everyone, no problem. It's insane. And Ingkells. Ingkells is super fast on the combos. It's almost like unreal to catch him. And he peels the damage very, very successfully and very fast. The winning spin, once again, he has that just like Antinoff. He has a winning spin. He does 7 spins that do stagger every time. And this is his best freaking active skill. I've killed a lot of people with Ingkells. You might think, you know, it's tier 1, not that big of a deal. He's insane. If you can just... If the enemies, like over here, what Nimain did, if they get stacked like that and you use the winning spin, you're just gonna destroy them all. They can't do anything. Downward strikes, he jumps forward, dealing huge damage, can be pretty good, but I would say if you're going Ingkells, just go for the winning spin. It's worth it all the time, all the way. It's really, really insane. It's really strong. Moving on, Tier 2. Now, Tier 2 is probably, out of all of them, in S Tier, is the strongest, hands down. So, in S Tier, we have Succubus Queen and Calidus. Now, when it comes to Succubus Queen is known that a lot of people actually use Succubus Queen, and it's not a big of a deal, because it's not a secret, okay? She is pretty. Like, she's the best character in Vindictus, hands down. My favorite one out of them all. She looks amazing. She dresses amazing. Ooh, ooh, feels good, man. Why Succubus Queen is an S tier? Succubus Queen is very fast. Her smash hitbox starts right away. There is literally the startup is super fast, so it makes Succubus Queen dealing a lot of AoE damage and a lot of staggering. So if you're playing Succubus Queen, you would want to dive into the enemy team, and start your combos right away. What she's known for, she's also known for her first active, which is a Shockwave. Now, Shockwave, if the closer you are, the more chances that you're gonna hit with all 3 Shockwaves that she does, and they do huge damage. They can actually one-shot tier 1, 2, 3 champions, no problem. What's also so OP about Shockwave? It actually travels throughout the whole lane, which allows you to actually snipe some of the champions that are even in the Sanctuary. And there's been a lot of occasions when people get sniped because you're not invincible in Sanctuary, you're not safe there. So if you have a Succubus Queen against you, watch out. The Time Distortion, the secondary active skill that she has, she casts a pool on the lane. It does damage whoever goes into it, and also applies a speed slow, a move speed and attack speed slow effect. It might be really good to zone people out if you're like in a butt clenching situation, but honestly, Shockwave wins hands down there, and the combos and the Shockwave is what makes Succubus Queen the S tier. And Calidus. Calidus is kind of like the same as a Succubus Queen, but he's a little bit different. So you would want to play Calidus safe. So you would want to use your normals away and then just unpredictably smash into the directions. He's quite fast on the combos, very effective, but his Knife Parade, his secondary active skill, is what makes him amazing, like OP. So you can technically just stand at the start of your lane, and he throws daggers in AoE forward 3 times. Whenever they hit, they apply a bleed. The bleed lasts for a long amount of time, and sometimes people can actually die if they just don't pay attention that they have the bleed. The range is huge, and it allows Calidus to snipe people from afar very easily with ease. So, also his In a Flash, which is the first active skill, it also is pretty good, but the wind up is what makes it a little bit sketchy, I would say. So I would definitely go for Knife Parade all the way. It's really amazing. Calidus and Succubus Queen are the best tier 2 champions. They're just 5 out of 5, man. Like they're really strong. Tier 3 would be Succubus Selren and Aiden. Now, why Succubus Selren? Succubus Selren's combos is quite similar to Succubus Queen. She has a very huge range, and the startup of the smash is super fast, so it's really hard to get staggered out of your smash. As Selren, Under My Spell, which is the first active skill, is a long wind up, and then she does a large shockwave. I wouldn't recommend using that. You would want to use Succubus Selren for the magic missile, the secondary active. There is a super long wind up for it, and you can be an easy target, and you really need to position yourself correctly. But if you do it successfully, she releases homing charm balls that whenever they hit the enemies, it zaps their stamina completely. So they become easy targets. So if you're playing Selren, it would be awesome if you're paired up with the champions that do increase the action speed, that they buff the action speed, so you can cast your magic missiles faster, and you can. After that, everyone's stamina is zapped, so they're free targets. You just do your combos and you just demolish them. Succubus Selren is amazing. And then there is Aiden. Aiden is quite similar to both Succubuses. What's so good about Aiden? Uh, Obviously, the combos are great, they're super fast and quite wide. The biggest thing that really amazes me is his secondary active. But let's talk about the serial strikes first, his first active. Now, he performs few white strikes and they do a lot of damage. It's quite fast to do as well, so it's kind of good, but if you're going Aiden, I highly recommend to use Oblivion Blade, which is his secondary active skill. He charges, there's a wind up, he charges his sword, and for 30 seconds, he can perform an extra combo. Whenever you dash and then do the right click, he does a slash. He does a red slash that deals more than 1,000 damage in AoE and has a very long range. It also spends stamina every time you use that, but under Oblivion Blade, Aiden becomes insane. Like, he starts doing enormous damage in AoE. He's really scary. Watch out for the stamina. As you can see right here, he's charging and he pays for it because you don't want to do that in the lane. You would want to charge yourself up in the sanctuary first, so then you can actually engage into the combat. Go for the Oblivion Blade and just demolish them. If you play it smart and your team is really good, you can actually have more than 85% uptime on the Oblivion Blade, so you can just charge around. Just watch out for the stamina, because every time you do that combo, it costs you stamina. But it is just freaking insane. And lastly, Tier 4 S tier champions. There is only two of them. That would be Mell and Nimane. So, both of these characters are classic pop stompers. While their combos are pretty good, actually, Niles have a mid-range projectile that he sends as a smash, and Nimane hits with her spear with a really nice mid-range there. Why are they the strongest and the best champions in the game? Nile is the best because his chained stabs, his first active, there's literally almost no wind up there, and then he does a huge AoE damage around him with the chains, and then to seal the deal on top of that, sends homing balls towards enemy players. These do I don't know, ungodly amounts of damage. And it's really easy to set up, it's easy to execute. You just press the button and you just kill everything. Nile, you can dodge Nile easily with the chain stabs, but for some particular reasons, if you're playing it smart, you would want to wait until people are mid-combo so they can't really dodge out of it, and then use it. He does insane damage with chain stab. He literally one-shots everyone in like half of the lane. Covers up like half of the lane, maybe even more. Maddening Pursuit, the secondary active of Nile, is really good too. He flies forward, damaging everyone with his chains. It does huge damage, but you need to change directions, so you need to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So sometimes it might be hard, and sometimes people can escape Maddening Pursuit. So I would definitely suggest going chain stabs there. It's just so easy to just bonk everyone with that. And Goddess Nimane. Goddess Nimane is amazing, not just because for the combos, as I said, but because of the active skills. Raging Goddess, so this is literally her flight in regular PvE Redeemers. So super fast wind up, then she flies into the air with a first slash, and whenever everyone is around her, and she covers like half of the lane as well, they get slowed. They get damaged whenever she leaps, they get damaged whenever she crashes, and they get damaged and slowed whenever they are around the purple circle that is around her in a wide area. It's insane. Whenever she does it, she does enormous amounts of damage. Usually it doesn't finish up full HP people, but they're all slowed. Then they're all slowed for a very long amount of time. So they become easy targets, and then you just pick them up with your combos, with your teammates. Raging Goddess is just like chain stabs for Nile. These two abilities just pop stomps everyone. If you're not prepared, if you're not aware what they do, these are going to demolish everyone. These are the strongest champions. And Reflective Spear, which makes Nimane even more scary as a tier 4 champion, is an instant stab forward that she does, and then it releases a little shockwave at the end. This literally one-shots everyone in the line, so if everyone just lines up perfectly for her, you just press the button, she charges forward, and just stabs everyone, destroying everything. It's like both of her skills are amazing. This character is godlike. And that's about it for all the champions. This breakdown has been pretty long, I'm sorry. And let's have a final look at all the champions, just a tier list on its own, how they are ranked once again, and get to the conclusion. And now I will show you the tier list based on what we talked about, the whole breakdown of this video. As I said, it's not... tier lists are subjective, okay? I can be really bad with Cromm Cruaich, but you can actually, my friend, you can be like a real god of death with him. It's just maybe I am bad with him, but honestly, he feels quite subpar. Remember that if you're playing... why you need a tier list? You need a tier list whenever you want to play seriously, and you are quite competitive, and you want to win. And let's be honest, everyone wants to win, right? So... if you're playing for fun, you can play any champion you want. If you like Polar Bear, go for it. Enjoy your Polar Bear, it's alright. But if you want to have the maximum capacity, the maximum profit for your team, the best comp, you might want to consult with the tier list and try to pick these champions if you have them in the pool, and just utilize them correctly. This is the tier list. Please enjoy. Let me know in the comment section below. Maybe you have different opinions on that. I would gladly hear you out. And let's get to the conclusion. So this is pretty much it, covering tier lists and a breakdown of all champions in Mell Battle Arena. Guys, I hope you find this video useful. It's a little bit too long. I'm sorry, but I wanted to cover up all the champions here, so we can have a pretty decent tier list. So I hope you enjoy that. Thank you so much for watching. This was Legend Arma TV, yours truly. Subscribe to YouTube channel, hit the like buttons, join my Discord, stop by Twitch, guys. You're always welcome to ask any questions, and in the comment section below, please let me know if you think that some of the champions should be in a different tier, lower or upper. I will gladly hear your opinions. I see you very, very soon with more video guides. Please be safe. I love you all 3000, and I see you soon.